There's a bit of a misconception out there that if you want to buy a plug-in hybrid or an electric vehicle, you need to buy a luxury car.
But that's not the case because of this, the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. It gives the option of plug-in hybrid technology to a more mainstream audience.
I guess before we get too far, Danny, I should explain what a plug-in hybrid actually is in simple terms for those who don't understand. Like any hybrid, it has a combustion engine, in this case a 2-litre 4-cylinder petrol, and electric motors and batteries. But unlike conventional hybrids that use the petrol engine to drive the wheels most of the time, the plug-ins, generally speaking, rely on their electric motors to do the bulk of the work. In this case, Mitsubishi claims it has a range of about 54 kilometres of electric range, which, you know, is pretty good before the petrol engine starts kicking in, but which can then charge the batteries as you roll along or even power the wheels. So it's a pretty complicated system, but what did you think of it?
Yeah, it takes a while to get your head around how it all works, and even like just starting the car, you kind of expect to hear a noise and it's just so eerily quiet. So there is definitely a strange or different sensation when you're in one of these cars overall. But you know, in terms of driving experience, you know, I didn't love it, didn't hate it. It rides relatively well, but you know, this is really about clean, cost-effective driving. And if you look at some of the claimed fuel figures, you know, 1.7 per 100k, it's fairly impressive. I don't think you're going to get that in the real world when you combine the two, but it's still good.
Yeah, it's tricky you say that because, yeah, if you do go more than 50 k's and you start using the petrol engine to charge up the batteries, you can chew through it a lot quicker than 1.7 litres per 100. But the flip side of that is, if you do live quite close to work and you're commuting in this car, you could probably stretch it out, you know, one tank of gas out a fairly long time if you're charging it, if you're diligent with your charging, because it does drain the batteries pretty quickly. So you've really got to make sure you stay on top of them, keep them all topped up. But I guess, anyway, that's my turn behind the wheel. I guess I should give you a go.
Yep, okay. Yeah, look, once you drive it for a while, it just does feel like a bit of an ordinary SUV when you get used to how quiet it is. Looks-wise, you know, it's got a sturdy look about it. You know, the interior, it's quite big inside, you know, really roomy at the back. Obviously, this being the top spec, you've got some nice leather seats, heated seats, you know, which are one of my favorites in the winter, and you know, some good quality materials, but overall it just lacks refinement, I think, in the finish. It's just, you know, even for a top spec car, you've got some blanks down here and you're thinking, well, you know, shouldn't there be something? But you know, look, that's just me being pedantic overall.
Look, I think it's a pretty fair assessment. It's a good SUV, and if you look at where the Outlander is in the sales charts, it's, you know, middle of the pack, and it kind of feels a little bit middle of the pack, you know. It doesn't overwhelm you with its quality, it doesn't overwhelm you with its driving experience, but it's good. Like you say, it's very spacious. But like you say, we are driving the top spec, the Exceed, which with this fancy plug-in hybrid powertrain is over $55,000, just over $11,000 more than the equivalent petrol Exceed. Still pretty pricey even for a more mainstream offering. Yeah,
look, it is a lot more money. I mean, you know, we haven't mentioned, you do get advanced safety features as well with it. You get technology such as Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. On the negative, no sat nav, you know, which can be frustrating for some people.
Yeah, it's not fair to use your data all the time. I think
but getting back to that price difference, I mean, really, this is an investment in the environment. If you're buying this, it's an investment, I guess, in your kids' future. That's how I think most people would look at it.
Kudos to Mitsubishi for getting in the game and making it, I guess, a more available alternative for your average family.
Yeah. Look, I have to admit, driving this has made me think more about what sort of car I'm going to drive in the future. So it does make you think about that, and you know, as a parent, you'd probably think the same way. But then on the other end, I guess there's the practicality to it, because you know, if you don't have a garage overnight to recharge this, and you live in an apartment, and many families do, that can be a bit complicated with a car like this.
Yeah, look, it definitely has its pros and cons, but like I say, I think Mitsubishi should be applauded for at least making it available, putting it out there. It's never going to be the best seller in this class at the moment, but you know, good on them for at least making an alternative for those people who don't have more than $100,000 to spend, and actually having, I guess, a greener alternative.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you on that one.